Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all things major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. And today, some Spider-Man news. Now, not MCU Tom Holland Spider-Man, but Sonyverse Spider-Man news, which, of course, can be very exciting. In fact, I'm very excited for the future of the Sonyverse, since it does look like we're going in the route of Spider-Geddon with Madam Web and many of the other plans that Sony's currently putting forth. We've heard recently about a Silk live-action series that is going to be passed over to Amazon, and today we're hearing about a live-action Spider Man Noir series at Amazon. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the other major movie and television news updates happening daily here on the channel. You can also follow me on my other socials, Instagram at Chris M. Rosser and Twitter at TheCultureChris. Links to both of those are in the description down below. Now, this new report is coming from Variety exclusively, where they state a Spider Man Noir live-action series is in the works at Amazon. The currently untitled series will follow an older, grizzled superhero in 1930s New York City, and an insider states that the main character will not be Peter Parker. So whichever human is playing Spider-Man Noir, it's not going to be a Peter Parker variant, it will be somebody completely different, as Sony continues to expand its Spider-Verse for greater purposes, where now we're hearing about Silk, Spider-Man Noir. We have an idea of other rumors for Spider-Man projects that will be in the works, and we know about a couple more that are happening over at Sony. And like I just mentioned, this is for a greater purpose, which we'll talk about in just a second. As far as this live-action project is concerned, it is the second known project based on the Sony-controlled Marvel characters that is going to Amazon Prime Video. It was previously announced that the Silk Spider Society was going to be passed over to Amazon, but will also, according to insiders, exist inside the canon universe of the Sony Spider-Man characters, which admittedly is a little bit of a mess right now, with some of the stuff that happened in Morbius, with the confusion of Venom jumping in and out of the canon MCU, and many other questions about the quality of what Sony has been able to produce. But with many of the characters on the rise, like Andrew Garfield potentially playing the Peter Parker in that universe, and the Into the Spider-Verse movie having such success with introducing new characters, we're all expecting something very, very big currently in the works at Sony. Now, keep in mind there are over 900 different types of Spider-Man and women and pig characters in the Marvel comic lore, and we could see any variations of these characters start to get live-action projects. And for me, it's a very promising sign to see Sony passing off some of these projects to Amazon, because it shows a little bit of maturity in the sense that they know they can't keep up with all of them. Now, why do we need so many different Spider-Man projects? Well, it's a very simple comic line known as Spider-Geddon, which features several of these Spider-Man variants fighting in one team over a lot of different really cool mythical Spider-Man stuff. We'll do a video on another day explaining Spider-Geddon, but here's why it's really exciting. It's basically the endgame of Spider-Man. And I'm saying many different variants sharing a screen, fighting for one big gigantic purpose that's slightly beyond the friendly neighborhood setting. And with projects for Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman, and Madam Web all currently at the works over at Sony, whether some of them are actually producing or just currently discussions, we know that they are expanding the Spider perspective by introducing new live-action characters so that they can collapse all of them onto one really awesome multiversal storyline, which will more than likely begin with Madam Web, and then we can have the endgame of Spider-Man, which is Spider-Geddon. But it doesn't only end there. Not only is Spider-Man expanding our perspective of a Spider-Man character, but they've also introduced many villains and other characters. Venom has had 1 and 2 movies come out, and we're expecting a third, which hopefully will be Spider-Man versus Venom kind of theme. And we also have a Kraven the Hunter movie coming out. Morbius was an expansion, although obviously not everybody's favorite. It's showing the effort to grow the perspective beyond just Peter Parker and his Spider-Man. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Into the Spider-Verse and the upcoming Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and Part 2 were excellent testers for this. We got to be introduced to different types of Spider-Man, Miles Morales as the flagship character of that project, but also including Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy, yes, Spider Man Noir as well, and many others, shows a lot of excitement. In fact, in the upcoming Spider-Man Across the Universe, we see Spider-Man 2099, which in the original teaser had fans extremely excited. Now, it's very possible and even likely that you're not familiar with all of these Spider-Man characters, as many of their comic books date way back into the past, or some of them had very, very brief comic book run-ins. With Spider-Man Noir, the history of him in the comics is a debut that happened in 2009 as part of the Marvel Noir universe. This version of the iconic superhero lives in New York during the Great Depression. He's bitten by a spider hidden inside a stolen artifact, which causes him to have visions of a spider god who grants him superpowers. The character has previously appeared on screen in an animated series called Ultimate Spider-Man, and we've also seen him in Into the Spider-Verse. However, the upcoming live-action project happening at Amazon will be the first time Spider-Man Noir will be given a live-action opportunity. And this is all going to lead into the massive Sony Spider-Man collected universe, which will eventually have all of these characters collapse and work together. One thing we haven't gotten any word on, which we've all expected to hear something since the big success of Spider-Man No Way Home, is Sony's universe's Peter Parker. A lot of people were kind of crossing their fingers that Tom Holland would switch over, maybe go fight Venom in the Sony universe, or end up being the Spider-Man, the Peter Parker from the Sony universe. However, it's very clear that that won't probably be the case anymore, and even if we do manage to see Tom Holland switch over from the MCU to the Sony Spider-Verse, it's very likely for a cameo for a brief moment or for some sort of finale in the Spider-Geddon series. But there are rumors that Andrew Garfield will be making a return for his third Spider-Man film, and it will be revealed that he's actually been the Sony vs. Spider-Man the whole time. Many people are excited for this prospect. Some people might even want to see a new Peter Parker, but with that comes a whole new origin potentially and a whole new introduction for a character that we've seen over and over and over again, and many people are ready for something new. That's why a lot of people also believe there'll be the introduction of Miles Morales in the Sonyverse, which might end up being the live-action center of the entire universe. All of this is kind of still out for debate as we continue to expand and grow our Spider-Man perspective, and different characters are being introduced in the live-action format, and I'm very happy to see Sony reaching out to other companies like Amazon to get help in that respect, because they truthfully and honestly need it. But let me know which other Spider variants you would love to see get a live action project either with Amazon or over back at Sony, and how you would like to see them all connect in the future. Also let me know how would you like them to deal with Peter Parker in the Sonyverse moving forward. Thank you guys so much for watching to the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell. And I'll be sure to catch all of you guys in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.